How to increase your mobility so you can hit your shots further and more effortlessly? Well, today we find out with PGA coach James Eam. So mobility solves the problem of hitting further for a lot of people. Most people, right? Because most people usually don't lack power. They lack mobility.
Yes, pretty much.
Half?
They're half and half, yeah. We got to work on ankle and knee and hip mobility.
Okay.
So we got to have a good internal and external hip rotation. Yeah?
Okay.
So first I do a TPI, quick TPI assessment for all my students. So,
And just for people who don't know, what is a TPI assessment?
it's the Titleist Performance Institute. It's like
It's one of the top benchmarks of assessments.
Yeah, assessment, yes. This is just for assessment. This
Right.
is not like a strength or power assessment.
Right.
This is just a mobility assessment. So I put a alignment right over there, and then I put my 6-iron, I put it right here. So it matches make sure it matches the club head.
And the reason we're using 6-iron is for the angle of the club.
Yes. So this is a 7-iron, so it's somewhere here. And then I put a alignment stick right here.
Okay.
And then I lift my left toe right here, and then see if I can go past this line over here.
Okay. And that's, we need to go past this line, or this
Yeah,
is
you
the
want to
standard?
be at least at that line up here.
Is this
So
the
it's
like minimum we want to be, or the standard, the average?
standard?
Standard, okay.
And minimum if you want to create maximum power.
Okay, I see.
Well, one thing you got to remember is try not to lift the inner toe when you do this.
Okay.
So this is cheating.
The
Don't
inner
lift.
toe if we do that. So the
Yeah.
ankle moves.
Yes. Turn as much as you can and see if you can turn as much as this.
And is this test, we're testing 3 things.
Yeah.
But is it possible that just one thing is very tight that holds you back from turning?
Yeah.
How would you
it
be
could,
able to tell?
It could be one of them, but that you have to go see a physio or
Okay.
the golf tour trainer.
This is usually more of a general
Yeah,
assessment.
general
Okay.
assessment. If you have an issue with your hip flexor, then obviously when you're turning back, you're gonna have an issue with hip rotation.
Right.
So for this, I highly recommend doing a stretch, hip flexor stretch. So one of them is just me doing a leg swing,
Right.
just to warm it up. And then next is grab the club like this and then open up your hips like this. So
Sure. And-
push out your knees
Okay.
and push it out as far as you can go. What are you doing? You don't have to squat that much. Stand up a little, but focus on pushing it up.
I feel it more in my
Yeah.
hamstrings.
That's one of them, and then just another one is this.
Right. And these are warm-ups, not stretches, right?
This is stretch.
This one's a
and that's
stretch?
One of them is just the activation, and yeah, they're pretty much a warm up.
And how should we separate when to activate when? Is activating
Oh,
enough?
you have to activate it every time.
Activate every time, but do we need to stretch as well?
Oh yeah, of course.
So much work.
And you also gotta go see a physio too to work on your hip. So go
Right.
see a golf physio who can help you with your mobility. So make sure to go see someone who has a TPI certification.
Okay.
Either up to level 3.
I didn't know
Level
there's
1 is okay
There's
too.
dedicated golf physios?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if they have a TPI, that means they are more focused on the golf.
They probably have more golf clients as well.
Yeah. So another reason why people have a struggle with the hip turn is just if they get your left knee in front of them, like you see my left knee is on top of my toe, and then when I do my backswing, you see my knee is still on top of my toe. I cannot turn my hips.
Okay.
See, I have like 10-degree hip turn, but if you do your backswing, pushing your left knee towards this way, it makes it so much easier for you to rotate the hip.
Okay.
So that's one of the ways to have more hip mobility.
Okay.
Another one is if you struggle with the hip turn, just to open up your foot just a little bit like this. So it gives you more rotation.
Right. So why don't we show them example of low hip rotation or low
swing?
lower body rotation versus high rotation.
Okay,
Are you
so-
able to do low rotation? Do you know how to do
Yeah,
it?
of course.
Okay.
If I just lock my left knee and
Okay.
then just do my backswing like this,
Sure.
so I can just do a swing here.
Okay.
So don't worry, I'm not gonna hit you.
Well, it's always, you never know.
So left knee here. If I swing like this, it makes me, I have to swing with my arm because there's no hip rotation. I cannot lead with my lower body. But if I do my backswing like this, now I have more leverage to do a weight transfer hip rotation and release.
Right.
So if you look the video, see I have way more leverage, right?
Why don't we show that on a shot?
Okay.
Let's do one without first. That's without hip rotation.
You can see the difference right away.
I can
right?
see, but you're
And
not.
because I'm swinging with my arm, it's all going left.
And you're still hitting 174.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you can clearly see in the video, you just swung upper body and then you follow through.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's see what rotation looks like.
So that's my natural swing. I have to turn so I can turn back.
Well, this rotation only gave you 10 more yards. So
Oh, it's not about-
technically,
Yeah,
it's not about distance.
Distance. It's about more accuracy
Oh,
and consistency, accuracy, and direction.
and why does that give you more consistency?
Oh, because more you use a bigger muscle, you have way more chance for your arms and your whole body to come back to the same spot where you
Okay.
started. If you start using the small muscle like arm and wrist,
Right. There's more
your
movement.
chance that you're coming back is very low. So that's one of the reasons.
Okay.
But you
all
still
right.
have to use your arm though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was our lower body. What's after that?
Spine rotation and shoulder turn. So those are another very important thing. So spine rotation means your spine has to turn, so your back has to be facing the target on the top of the backswing. And then at the same time, you gotta have enough shoulder turns. So your shoulder has to be,
Right.
what recommendation will be left shoulder on top of the right toe.
Left shoulder on top of the right foot.
Right foot or toe,
Okay.
yeah.
And then when you're saying 90 degrees here, what is 90? Our chest is 90 or our shoulder to shoulder is 90?
Well, they're both.
Together?
Yeah.
I guess so. Well, you could do, you won't.
You could. So those are very important. So, and then also shoulder mobility too.
Right.
So, make sure on your setup, you make sure your shoulder is not in front of the chest, like a little round shoulder.
Okay.
We don't want any round shoulder. We want your chest and the shoulder aligned together like this. Even like chest in front is better.
Okay.
So which means your shoulders are very relaxed. And then if you look from the side, you look like this.
Right.
My chest is in front of my shoulder.
Right.
So you gotta check if you're in this position or this position.
Can they ever have their chest too in front? Is that
Too in
a
front?
problem or not really?
Well, if you do a lot of bench press, yeah, you might have
like
a
this?
chest like this.
gorilla?
Yeah.
But that's usually not a problem, right? Usually people round
Yeah,
more.
round shoulder is the worst because if you look from the side view, if you have a round shoulder, my back starts to round too.
Yeah.
So you don't want any pelvic tilt.
Right. So by making this a swing plane, as making this a same plane, I can feel that my entire back is also a
Back
straight
is
plane.
Yes, because if you squeeze your back, like your shoulder blades, your shoulder starts to go back.
Right.
Then, and also if your shoulder is forward, usually that means a lot of tension on your shoulder.
Right.
So relax your arm and relax your shoulder. So make sure your chest and shoulder are aligned or chest in front.
Okay.
Okay. So what happens if your shoulder is in the front? When you do your backswing, your right arm starts to do this, and your right shoulder starts to go up.
Right.
So this is when we start doing the mobility test for your elbow and shoulder. So when you guys are at home, try this routine. Look at yourself in the mirror. This is another TPI assessment. So get into a golf position and make sure your back is straight and get your right elbow on top of your shoulder like this. And then without changing your spine angle, see how far you can go with your shoulder, with your hands. So if it passes your ears, that means you passed. One stretching you can do for this is very simple. Just grab the club like this and then put your hands on top of the club and put your elbows at the shaft.
Right.
So this is very confusing. So grab it with your left hand, right hand on this side, and grab it, grab the grip, and then just rotate this way.
Right.
So do this for like 10 reps, and then last reps, just hold for 3 seconds. And then that's gonna help you get into this position instead of this.
Right.
So you have a flying elbow at the back of the backswing, and then because your left elbow, same thing. You cannot rotate properly because you don't have enough mobility.
Right.
So you end up with a chicken wing and finish.
Right.
So imagine your both elbows are attached together throughout your whole backswing and finish. So elbows tucked in, backswing. You see my elbows are almost touching each other. Hit the ball, and then elbows touching,
Right.
elbows touching.
That's just this exercise. I already feel so much tension in my body. Like my whole body's at its limit.
So yeah, so elbows together. Yeah, like this. You see my both elbows are tucked in, here and here.
Right.
Lastly, the spine rotation. So we gotta make sure your shoulder is on top of the right. If you get your left shoulder on top of your right toe, you're naturally turning your spine angle this far.
Okay.
Okay? So another easy way to check this is just grab the club like this, and then make sure this side of the grip is not past this right toe, not here.
Okay.
And without lifting the heel, lifting the toe. So rotate. Oh, and make sure your head is not moving as much. Just trying to stay centered and just rotate. But when you do this, make sure your weight is not on the back side. I mean, on your lee side. On your right side.
Right. One last question I have is, because we talked about the lower body, the spine, the upper body, these are all big muscle groups.
Yes.
But what about small muscle groups? One of them is the most important, which is our hands, our wrists, and maybe even our fingers.
Fingers, okay. So let's talk about wrist rotation.
Okay, sure.
So they're kind of related to your shoulder. So I see a lot of golfers when they get into impact. I cover this a lot. They cannot rotate the wrist.
Okay.
So they cannot roll their hands.
That's
they
a mobility
always
issue?
end up in this position. It's usually happen because of the left shoulder mobility. So if your left shoulder, you have a round left shoulder like this, it's really hard to rotate the shoulder.
Right.
But for me, because I have a really good wrist and forearm mobility, it's really easy for me to rotate without my shoulder rotating, opening up.
Right.
So for this, I highly recommend doing this stretching. Just grab the club by the end of the head, end of the grip, and trying to open up your shoulder and your chest like this. So we're trying to open up the shoulder. So do this for like 20 to 30 seconds on both sides.
Right.
That's gonna help you open up the shoulder. So if your left shoulder is more open like this, it's easy for you to rotate the hands. And also another tip is trying to get your elbow. I usually teach my student to get your elbow facing the target, left elbow, and right elbow facing inward. But if you have a issue with shoulder rotation, then I want your left elbow facing your body on your setup with a little bit weaker grip, and then open up your stance a little bit more. Open up the stance a little bit more and swing like this. If you're a person who's blocking the ball to the right side because of the lack of wrist rotation, just open your stance, weaker grip, and rotate.
Okay. All right, James. This was such an amazing lesson that I feel compelled to go stretch at this moment. So I'm gonna go stretch right now, and you're gonna do a recap and outro by yourself.
Okay.
And by stretch, I mean I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
For hip rotation, make sure to check if it's your ankle or knee or hip that is restricting you from turning your hips, and also make sure to work on your shoulder turn and thoracic rotation by getting your left shoulder on top of your right toe. And then wrist rotation and shoulder turn. So make sure to do the TPI assessment on the shoulder to see where your shoulders are at. If you have an issue with the shoulder rotation or shoulder mobility, make sure to do this stretching before you play around. So, and also if you have an issue with the wrist rotation during the impact, open up your stance a little bit and then get your left elbow facing your body instead of facing the target, and then trying to rotate the wrist like this, trying to open up your shoulder. So thank you for watching our video. Please like and subscribe and support us by joining our YouTube membership. See you guys soon.